Wonderful, so wonderful is your unfailing love. Your cross has spoken mercy over me. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no heart could fully know how glorious, how beautiful you are. Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must sing. Powerful, so powerful, your glory fills the skies, your mighty works displayed for all to see. All to see. The beauty of your majesty awakes my heart to sing. How marvelous, how wonderful you are. Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must sing. Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must sing. You opened my eyes to your wonders anew. You captured my heart with this love. 'Cause nothing on earth is as beautiful as you. You opened my eyes to your wonders anew. You captured my heart with this love. 'Cause nothing on earth is as beautiful as you. Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must sing. Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must sing. Faithful love flowing down from the thorn-covered crown makes me whole, saves my soul, washes whiter than snow. Faithful love calms each fear, reaches down
right, welcome back, everyone. Psalm 62 is our focus this week. Like most in this part of the book, really the book overall, this one is another Psalm of David. The superscription notes to the chief musician, to Jeduthun. This was one of those appointed by David to preside over the music in the tabernacle. You might note 1 Chronicles 25, 1 through 3. Albert Barnes in his commentary pointed out it is impossible to determine why this psalm and others where his name is found in the title were dedicated to him or committed to his special care. So we have this note that he is somehow attached to this particular psalm, but for what reason, nobody knows. So overall, Psalm 62, slightly longer than 61, but again, still just 12 verses, so not a terribly long psalm itself, is most interesting to me for one. I think it's a rather obvious reason. Others may disagree, but for the most part, as you're reading through Psalm 62, it seems to be what I tend to call a rather vanilla or typical psalm. Brother Waycaster notes it has some common phrases of David, my rock, my refuge, my strength. Again, sounds an awful lot like other psalms, but to me, there's a rather noticeable difference in the type of language, the train of thought from down through verse 8 and then verse 9 following. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. You have these, we've noted before, this word Selah, the pause, that sometimes indicates a bit of a change in thought. There's one at the end of verse 4, another at the end of verse 8, which kind of breaks the psalm down handily into thirds. But again, to me, from my perspective, the real difference is 1 through 8, and then 9 through 12, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. But just to give you Brother Waycaster's breakdown, he always gives us a handy outline to help us with dividing up the Psalms. Trust, verses 1 and 2, the author presents a simple statement of his trust in God, his rock and salvation. Verses 3 and 4, a description of the enemies, their intentions and purposes, again, typical of many a psalm. Verses 5 through 7, again, visiting the idea of trust, in which there's a renewal of the sentiments of the first two verses. So again, that tends to go together. He has verses 8 through 10, an exhortation for others to likewise trust in God and not in external or physical things. Again, I disagree with that a bit. I think the division goes after 8, but anyway. In verses 11 and 12, reasons for trusting in God. All power belongs to him, verse 11. He's merciful, verse 12. He is just and equitable, verse 12. So that gives you a bit of an overview. The thing that stands out to me, the most notable thing about Psalm 62 is that, again, my personal opinion here, feel free to disagree if you want. Through verse 8, it sounds to me like a very David kind of psalm. Somewhat vanilla, the same kind of common language that you find in David's psalms. Verses 9 to 12, to me, seem very Ecclesiastes-ish. It sounds a lot more like Solomon. You have some Ecclesiastes kinds of thoughts there. So we'll read it together. Kind of see what you think. But from the beginning, truly my soul waiteth upon God. From him cometh my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. Very, very standard way to start off a psalm. How will you imagine mischief against a man? You should, and again, typical, right? So there's someone vexing him. Ye shall be slain, all of you, as a bowing wall shall ye be, and as a tottering fence, right? So you can picture in your mind's eye, a wall that's just got this massive weight bearing down on it, and it's bending out, and just any moment now it's going to snap and collapse. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. We've seen thoughts like this in prior Psalms. This idea that these troublesome people are not only enemies, but they are conniving. They are deceitful. Again, fits a number of times in David's life. Verse 5, my soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. Again, reiterating what he said earlier. In God is my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength, and my refuge is in God. Trust in him at all times. Ye people, pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Okay, everything up to that point to me sounds about as typical and vanilla of a psalm as it could possibly be. He puts his faith in God, his rock, his refuge, his salvation, his defense, his tower, all of these standard descriptive terms. Someone, some occasion, is giving him trouble. These enemies are deceitful, they're liars, they're scoundrels, they lie in wait to trip him up. But don't worry about any of that. He's going to be faithful. God is going to come to his aid, and put your trust in him. Starting in verse 9 through the end. Surely men of low degree are vanity, and men of high degree are a lie. To be laid in the balance, they are altogether lighter than vanity. Okay, so not only, the word vanity is the key word of Ecclesiastes. Solomon uses it over and over and over again, but just the thought itself, this idea that whether you have men of low degree, scoundrels and liars and criminals, or men of high degree, put them together in the scales and they're all vanity. It's all emptiness. Verse 10, trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. Yet again, that is a very Solomonish, very Ecclesiastes kind of a thought. Oppression, robbery, the fleeting nature of riches and material wealth. I don't know. I don't know about you personally. It's a rather stark contrast, just shifting from verse 8 to verse 9. Again, it's like from David to Solomon. It's not to say that it's written by two different people, but just the language, the tone, the kind of things that are being written about. You could almost take both of them. You could take the first 8 verses and say this is textbook of David, right? And then you could take verses 9 and 10 on the flip side of that, and you could say this is textbook Solomon, right? It's interesting. Again, to me, the single most interesting thing about Psalm 62. Verse 11, God hath spoken once, twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto God. Not spoken once literally, right? God has spoken many times. Rather, the idea is that once he has said something, it stands. It's certain, it is unchangeable, you can take it to the bank, as it were. So yeah, God has spoken to mankind many, many times, but I said, yeah, God has spoken once, twice have I heard this. Or he only says it once, and that's enough, because once he said it, it is set. Finishing off verse 12, also unto thee, O Lord, belongeth mercy, for thou renderest to every man according to his work. Yet again, I don't know that we've noted before. You find a number of, and we noted this back a couple of months ago. We did a series on Ecclesiastes. You have a different kind of a different kind of a tone, a different kind of a voice in Ecclesiastes than pretty much any other book in the Old Testament. And the very end of the book, Ecclesiastes 12, 13, 14. Is a thought there that is rare indeed for the Old Testament. You don't find it too many places. Here, Psalm 62:12, you do. thou renderest to every man according to his work. You might note 2 Corinthians 5:10, right? Paul there speaking of the fact that all men will give an account to God in the final judgment. Again, in the New Testament, you find this idea all over the place. In the Old Testament, it's something of a rarity, but you have it here. You have it in Ecclesiastes 12:14. You might also note Job 34:11. You find a similar thought there. So it's not to say that it's not in the Old Testament, but it's certainly not to the extent that you find it in the New. So that is Psalm 62. Again, in some respects, a rather short, rather typical psalm. But again, I would say it is only a vanilla or typical or standard seeming psalm for the first 2/3 of it. The last third, verses 9 through 12, as we've just noted, are in fact somewhat unique and somewhat different. And you're not going to find too much in the Psalms that sounds a great deal like these. So that is Psalm 62. Lord willing, we will continue on next time with, you guessed it, Psalm 63. Thank you.
Over all the earth you reign on high, every mountain stream, every sunset sky. But my one request, Lord, my only aim, is that you reign in me again. Lord, reign in me, reign in your power, over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the Lord of all I am. So won't you reign in me again? Over every thought, over every word, may my life reflect the beauty of my Lord. 'Cause you mean more to me than any earthly thing. So won't you reign in me again? Lord, reign in me, reign in your power, over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the Lord of all I am. So won't you reign in me again? Lord, reign in me, reign in your power, over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the Lord of all I am. So won't you reign in me again? You are the Lord of all I am. So won't you reign in me again?